Well, hello, Yamina Collins here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am making a video showing you how to use makeup to really give yourself a dramatic nose job. Now, I'm going to put up a picture on the screen right now that shows what my nose looks like normally without makeup. And you can see I don't have a large nose naturally, but you can see just how much more pointed my nose is right now with my face made up. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this makeup on my nose in a moment and walk you through the stages of how I get this much more sort of petite look to my nose. Now, it's kind of interesting because to be honest, I sort of have mixed feelings about doing this project. I actually am not a big fan of making my nose super petite, partly because I already have kind of a small nose, but also I do kind of struggle with the idea as an African-American woman of sort of tampering down my natural features a little bit too much. So as I go through this process, as I remove the makeup on my nose and show you how I get my nose to look very thin, I'm actually going to do two steps. The first step is how I do my makeup when I make my nose a bit more natural looking, and then the final step will be this look, which sort of makes my nose a lot more narrow. Now, even though I have mixed feelings about it, I do understand that some people have, obviously people have different shaped nose, and so learning this trick to really sort of narrow your nose and narrow the features on the center of your face, you know, could really work for your look. And when we do this makeup look, I'm going to go ahead and show you how it's not just about taking highlighter and placing it on the tip of the nose. It's going to encompass the forehead, the bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose, the sides of the nose, the cupid's bow, and the chin. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we are, and I'm back, and I have removed all the makeup on my nose. Obviously, I have plenty of makeup on my face, but I removed the makeup on my nose, and I'm going to first start off showing how I do more natural contour with my nose, and then really show you how I make a really, really narrow contour. So I'm just using a couple of products. When I do my contouring, I actually just use the Viseart eyeshadow palette. I don't normally use, I bought all these different contour products that were specifically for contouring, and I find they're a little bit liquidy, not liquidy, but a little bit sort of soft, and they're not powders. I tend to like powders. So the color that I'm going to use, there's a darker color in this particular Viseart palette. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one that's almost kind of a purplish brown, and I'm going to go ahead and just follow the natural shape of my nose. And you know who seems really good about following the natural shape of her nose is Jennifer Lopez. If you see pictures of her nose, if you see her before she's wearing makeup and after she's wearing makeup, she seems to follow the natural shape of her nose, which I really appreciate. She doesn't make her nose too thin, and I think that's really important for mature women, because like I'm 47, and when we make our noses too thin, to me it looks like we're trying too hard, and it looks really fake. So that's why at the beginning of this video, when I did the video, I said I tend to keep a natural shape in my everyday life, and I'm just showing you this video for those who want to sort of make their noses thin. So we're following the natural curve, and a lot of times people sort of just droop down and do their nose like this. I'm just going to go ahead and actually add a like a button to my nose, and I'm gonna actually close up the button. Sometimes I leave it open, but I'm gonna close up the button of the nose completely, and then also add contour to the nostrils, because I'm not trying to cut out my nostrils. I think not having nostrils on the nose just brings all the attention to the point, and it just looks very unnatural. So yeah, we're gonna follow the nostrils as well, and it's really that simple. And I'm going to go ahead and just, of course, this is just I don't even think this has a name, it's just a blending brush that I've had for a while, and I'm literally going to go ahead and just, we want to blend it enough where it's almost not visible. When we make our nose a lot sharper, this is going to be visible, but now I'm not making it visible. The only thing I'm going to try to keep visible is this part of the contour, because it creates kind of a bridge on my nose, or it does create a bridge on my nose, and I don't have a bridge on my nose. So I'm going to leave this slightly visible, but the rest here, the goal for me is to just blend it almost to the point of being invisible almost. Do a lot of blending here. And then of course, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the same Viseart palette and I'm probably just gonna use white. I could also use the gold. I tend not to like shimmers, but I could use it since so many people tend to like shimmers. But here's the trick. You really want to, when you add the shimmer, not just put it on the tip, which a lot of women do. You want to put it in the nostrils as well. At least that's how I do it, as well as the bridge. And then you really want to blend, but you want to blend to the point where it is virtually invisible. What a lot of people do today, a lot of women I notice, is all of the light when they wear the shimmer on the nose or the highlight on the nose, it all goes to the nose, to the point where the nose is actually lighter than the rest of the face. That's not a look that I particularly like. And it's funny, if you look at, for example, old pictures of Marilyn Monroe, you can clearly see, not clearly, once you see it, you always notice it, but she would contour her nose so that there was this little tip on the edge of the nose. And clearly, I'm sure she would use some form of highlighting on the nose because her face was so well lit with makeup, but you don't notice her nose being lighter than the rest of her face, like women do in modern times with makeup. Even though she clearly contoured, it was well blended. The nose didn't, like I said, the nose doesn't stick out any more than the rest of the face. And so yeah, this is how I just naturally contour. Actually, this is a little visible. Sometimes I just use my finger just to blend. And so yeah, this is just how I naturally contour. And again, it just gives a slight shape to the nose. I'm not normally trying to make my nose too much thinner because I don't have such a large nose, but I do like creating that slight bridge to the nose. Yeah, this is how I normally contour, just to give a little tiny bit of shape to my nose. Now we're going to go for a little more dramatic look. I'm going to go back and use my Viseart products. Like I said, these are powders. I prefer powders. And so whereas the first time I did it, I pretty much just followed the natural shape of my nose, I'm going to start off following the natural shape of my nose. We do want to have the sort of top of the bridge start where it naturally starts. But then I'm going to curve in slightly. Curve in to make it narrow. And you don't want to do it, like I see some women contour where they're just completely cutting off their nose, like completely. I don't like to do that. If I'm going to make it a little bit thinner, I just want to sort of cheat it a little bit. So we're going to go in a little bit more with the nose here, especially in this part of the face. And then just a little bit more. Slightly cheated inward. Ooh. And then we're going to go ahead and add that bridge. And all we're doing now is just making this bridge more visible, and then the darkness underneath and on the sides that creates the button more visible. And this is the tough part because it really is going to take a lot of blending, or the proper blending. So you create the button, but it's not really visible to people until they notice. And like I said, if you see old pictures of Marilyn Monroe, she would add this button nose, and most people don't even notice it until you notice it. And then, like I said, you're like, oh, it's always there. But like I said, she did such a good job. The sort of casual eye won't catch it. So let's continue to add some more contour once again to the nostrils. And then before we blend, this time around when we add highlight, we aren't going to do it just to the tip and the bridge. We're going to start off actually in the forehead, because we're going to create this line that goes all the way down so that when light shines on the entire center of the face, it just kind of brings everything in. It just creates this sort of light narrowness. So we're going to add it here, of course. And I'm not going to just do a line. Well, I guess you could. You could do a line this way, but then it just kind of, I actually still like to fill in the entire bridge of the nose, the tip, the nostrils, and of course we're going to blend. And then we're also going to add highlighter to the cupid's bow and highlighter to the chin. Because again, we're creating a look that goes, a bright narrowness that goes all the way down the center of the face, all the way down. I'm going to also add some shadow to the sides of my cupid's bow, so that helps to center the light there, and a little bit on the chin too. All right, now first I'm going to use my fingers just to blend the bright spots, the highlighted portions of my face. And I think to me, when adding highlighter, what I notice a lot of women do is they just keep the highlighter so visible that their nose is visibly a different color than the rest of their face. It's like a huge like car light just centered on the center of their face. Women can do that. Of course, it's your choice. I personally don't like it. And again, I do notice that, say, women like Rita Hayworth or Marilyn Monroe or Dorothy Dandridge, clearly I'm sure that they probably lit their nose with makeup because especially Marilyn Monroe, her entire face was so well lit with makeup. She probably did use some sort of lightness to this part of her face, the nose, but it's so well blended that you'll notice her nose is not shinier than the rest of her face. It doesn't stick out more than the rest of her face. It's not a different color, whereas in modern times, women definitely put on their makeup so that the nose is like this glaring headlight. Like I said, you can do that. I personally am not a huge fan of it. And now here's the tricky part, because you want to have this bridge on the nose. You want it to be visible, but it's got to be just right in its visibility. Let's go ahead first of all and really blend the nostrils. And I'll get back to this later because it's got to be blended right. Let's go ahead and blend the sides of the face. The bridge, we're making that bridge a little bit narrower. I want to keep this part right here visible, but the rest not quite so visible. Boy, I gotta tell you, it's hard. It's really hard blending your makeup in the camera. I'm so used to just doing it sort of more in the mirror without the camera, but I'm gonna blend here and here. Make sure this part is blended. I feel like I could add just a touch more. Really, really delicate. Really delicate, especially under here, because when you add darkness here, that recedes this part of the nose so that the lighter part of the nose sticks up. So you can probably cheat a little bit more by making this part darker. And let's do a lot of blending. And that sort of gives an uplift tip to the nose. And then let's really just be really delicate in how we do this part. And it's still a little too visible, the nose tip, as well as some of the makeup on the side. And like I said, this is kind of the hardest part, getting the right natural lighting to figure out how you're going to look when you walk outside. It can be really tough to gauge, and the tip is slightly too visible, just slightly. Let's kind of just rub it a little bit this way. Okay, there, you can see the tip on the nose, and it gives this sort of pointiness to the nose. And I might have actually blended it a little bit too much. But that's kind of for you to gauge, like I said, how pointed of a tip you want, how visible you want the line. Anyway, yeah, just leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you think that this is going to work great for your nose. Let me know if you try it this way and how it works out, if it gives you sort of the more narrow shape that you have been looking for. And again, like I said, making sure that there's light just all the way down the face just really makes everything centered like this, and just creates that sort of more narrow effect. But again, don't be afraid to also just go for your natural nose shape. Anyway, this is Yamina Collins. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.